Hello, everyone. My name is Neil Prime from the SWKKF Legacy Committee. Today's date is November 28th, 2025, and we are conducting interviews with people who have had the opportunity to meet and work with Hanshi Mazuro Shintani and to share those experiences and keep his legacy alive. Today, our very special guest is Sensei Peter Avino from Buffalo, New York, USA. For the record, please state your name and rank or ranks.
Thank you, Sensei. I'm Peter Avino. I'm a ninth Dan out of Buffalo, New York. I've obviously been training in Wado Kai for a long time. Happy to be here and thank you for the opportunity. Oh, and today's date, of course, is November 28th, 2025.
Perfect. So, what ranks do you hold? And I say ranks, if it's multiple styles.
Yep, yep. So I hold a ninth in Wado. I have a fifth in Shindo. I have a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I unofficially have a brown belt in Kenjai Jiu-Jitsu.
Excellent. How many years have you been involved with the martial arts?
Um, 46 years. Still learning. Just starting to get it.
I hate asking that question because everyone I'm asking that has any record of Sensei Shintani, it's always a big number, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Hates ourselves. So you mentioned briefly what are the martial arts backgrounds and the studies that you or styles that you've studied?
Sure. I started out as a young pup in Kempo, and it was full contact Kempo with, full gear, everything, cups, mouth guards. And I found Wadaru and really enjoyed the techniques and the fighting style. And then along the way, like I said, I studied jujitsu for a couple of years with a local teacher in his group, and I was awarded a brown belt. I just never accepted it because I wasn't part of their organization. I've done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu course along the way. Anyone who's done fighting, you've done some boxing as well. Probably did 18 months of hard boxing.
Great. So how did you get it started?
Honestly, my dad passed away when I was quite young, like I was 12, and we weren't well off, and I needed to protect myself. I needed to take care of myself.
Interesting. So what are your personal accomplishments related to the martial arts?
Well, a decade or two ago, I might have stated like actual accomplishments as in achievements, but I look at it now as being able to share valuable knowledge and always being hungry for more of that knowledge. And having that acknowledgement from peers, having that acknowledgement from students. It's not that it's not valuable, but having that acknowledgement from other experienced, seasoned individuals, my peers, that I've combated against, trained under, hopefully taught to, those are what I found to be my most valuable accomplishments.
Excellent. So what was your first encounter with Hanshi Shintan?
Well, I was young, and I remember my instructor. It was my first tournament. I was a white belt, mid-teens, and my instructor mentioning that, pointing over and saying that that was Sensei. And I think the main thing is like he was so unassuming. He was the old man, the grandfather, going and talking to the kids in the kids division. So that kids white belt division, he spent. That's where I saw him spend probably 10 minutes. So my initial impression of him was very unassuming.
Excellent. So what is your favorite memory of Hanshi Shintani?
Oh, um, it's it's the the time that I got to train underneath him when he was doing this thing that he called Shindo. I literally, my instructor drove up from Buffalo, like, about hour and a half up from Buffalo. And I got to train with him and I was so excited for this. And I remember that he was excited to teach. And I was thinking, I'm going to learn all this stuff. And it was in the stairwell of this old building, this cultural center that he taught in, and we sat in that stairwell. He literally came out and cut broomsticks, the handles from broomsticks, and gave that to us, wrapped it in tape. And he said, I've been working on this thing for a while now. It's Shindo. And he actually said, it may change when we start training it, because I may change some things. And I had not, at that time, I hadn't realized, like, I was at the creation of something, the development of something. But it was those times that was the moments I got to work like right next to him, right with him. And each of those moments was, something that I could not believe how much I could learn.
That's a pretty cool experience, something that you're always going to remember. How did Hanshi Shintani make you feel?
Um, he enabled people. Um, so it wasn't like he made you feel happy. He showed you how you would be able to accomplish things that you wouldn't be able to accomplish. So, I'm cautious to say that it made me feel a certain way. I can say it brought peace, right? Everyone, that's kind of some of the things that we're looking for when we do this. And he didn't encourage by saying you can do this. He simply would state, yeah, you can do that, just practice this way. And there was no hesitation in it, so you believed it. So that's how he enabled you to believe in yourself.
Very, very nice. What struck you most about Hanshi Shintani?
Oh, that he was so unassuming, but with a few words he could impart volumes of knowledge, and not momentary. Like, every time I would work out with him, it would be a week later and I would be working something and I would be thinking, that's what he meant. And to be able to do that, it's not just, obviously we do that as trainers at a physical level, but to get you to think past your physical capabilities and to persevere, those were the things that impressed me.
Excellent. What inspired you most about Hanshi Shintani's character?
Well, there's two main things I would say. Again, I go to this unassuming, right? But it's more of a clarity of focus that I would say, and it was unwavering. There was no question. It was simply, this is the way his character was, and it was never changing. Um, so to understand that, it takes a while in today's world to accept that, because we all have these doubts about people, even especially when we get to know people and they're very good, we tend to be suspicious because we tend to worry about that, and we tend to be guarded. And it's simply, the more you stood around him, the more you understood that that was honestly the way his character was.
Um, was there a moment that made you say wow or aha?
Every time I was on the floor with him, um, because no matter how much I worked something, I would see him do it, and I would think, I did not know it could be done that way. Um, and every time I got to see him move, um, that's really, what it was like. I mean, if I saw him 2 days in a row and saw him do the same technique, I still would be, I can't believe that it can be done. And Sensei's technique, and it, he wasn't powerful. His technique was powerful. He wasn't fast. His technique was fast, and he showed that. He showed that technique conquers all.
So, is there a favorite technique Hanshi Shintani showed you? Perhaps something that you taught or still teach today?
It's not a particular technique as much as it is his timing. So when I say technique, other people may say, "Oh, I love this combo," or "I love this method that he did the katas." I loved his timing, and this technique that I talk about, this movement, it transcends whether it's kata or sparring or self-defense. It's to me what I sought to transcend all of that, and his technique gives everyone the ability to be much quicker, to be much powerful. Like your size does not matter based on this technique. So, and I try to teach that regardless, whether it's a kick, a punch, a block, a kata. That's what I try to impart on everyone.
So, what is the one thing about Hanshi Shintani that you think he should be remembered for?
Uh, you know, again, it goes to the fact that his character and anyone's character, he showed that having a good character can transcend a personal space, that it can make a difference in who you are, and it can make a difference in so many people around you. And a lot of us, even, a lot of us may be guarded about that, but he showed that, it's just like training, right? There may be some difficulties to it. It's not going to be easy, but that character is what made so many other people, inspired so many other people, that that's what I would say. uh, and we do that through martial arts. We do that through perseverance, right? Uh, 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 One saying is, the hammer forges iron and breaks glass. um, and we sometimes think that that's how we have to train physically, but that may happen. But it's all, if you don't have that mentally, it doesn't matter what you train. So that's the thing that I would say that you should remember. That I've been taught that. I've seen that. I have seen that in my time. That's actually happened. That the legend was real.
Absolutely real. Uh, so, what would you like to say to the students that have never had the opportunity to meet Hanshi Shintani?
That like I just said, I have seen this, and hopefully I show some of that to the students, that I didn't come up with this on my own, that I have seen it. And I'm a person, and I'm a person that I need to see facts, not the doubting Thomas, but I'm a person, I need data, right? I'm not going to just go on hearsay. And I have seen that. So, again, just like Sensei's character, hopefully I'm showing that, like, that if I tell you it's the way it is, that even if you doubt it, that after time, by my example, that you can see that. And I'm talking, right, most of us have had a few decades experience with Sensei. And when you look at that over a few decades, that kind of character, proves to be true, right? That's what I would want them to know. I mean, simply put, if Sensei didn't shake someone's hand, or just walked away. That was a serious offense. That was something like a judgment of character that, that was very bad. And likewise, when Sensei smiled at someone and shook their hand and went over to them, that was a good sign. So that's what I would say is um, transcends into our success in martial arts and in life, right? Then that's the what I say is the most important thing I want them to know.
Now, here's one of the hardest questions I found. Can you describe Hanshi Shintani in one sentence?
I I would have to say impeccable character that enabled anyone that sought that out.
That's quite a statement and absolutely true. How would you like Sensei Shintani portrayed to his membership?
Um, in spite of all we say, he was still a regular person just like us. And he went through like very challenging times, horrendous things by our standards today. And, by that character and by training, right? Our training strengthens that character and ensures that character. But he went through that and built, a number of like organizations and inspired a number of very qualified people.
Is there anything else that you would like to say about Hanshi Shintani? Anything on your mind?
Um, Again, we all have moments and we all have had fortunate moments that the woman, if Sensei looked at you and said, that was good, right? That was a standard, that, it, you know, we all saw it, no matter how far in our careers and our lives we always sought his approval, but it's not an emotional approval. It was always like, that's the right thing to do, right? It was more of a judgment, a
Mhm.
marker. And I would hope that I've been able to do that for my peers and my students. And to be able to remember that as a guide, as a marker, is how we really do make a difference. If you want to make a difference, if you want to make the world a better place, and I know we hear these things saying like, well, it all starts with you. But it can't end there. What Sensei taught us is we need to let others know, how that character should be, right? It's not like is it something that should happen or not? It was always like, well, this is the way it should be, right? So I would say, in closing for everyone, that would be the one thing. If you did not know that man, that he was a regular man that had these characters that transcends, the generations. And this is what we're trying to keep alive.
Mhm, mhm. Well, as we wrap it up, do you have anything else on your mind on this discussion?
I do hope that some of our membership read through, and go through these recordings. They're really valuable, and obviously, myself going through them, seeing my peers, brings back a lot of memories. For those who don't have those memories, think about there's something consistent we're all saying through this, through our different paths that brought us all here. There's something consistent we're all saying. And that is, pretty much from that sensei. So, what I would say is you can go, and learn fighting and all that. But if you want to stick with it for a few decades, like some of us have, it's got to be more than just fighting. It's got to be this character.
Absolutely. Well said. Sensei Peter, I really, really appreciate your time today and sharing your memories and thoughts on Hanshi Shintani. I knew that you were not going to bring up this as far as any of your accomplishments go through Wado, but I do want to mention to the people that are watching this video that although you had lots of time with Hanshi Shintani, Sensei Bob Graham was the original instructor. Sensei Bob Graham was named the successor to the Shintani Wado Kai Karate Federation in the USA. And within, I think it was what, a year and a half, 2.5 years ago, Sensei Bob Graham named yourself, Sensei Peter Avino, as his successor to the Shintani Karate Federation in the United States. And that to me just validates everything that you have done in your Wado life. So thank you very, very much for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.